This program is presented by International Container Terminal Services, Inc. Excellence Uncontained.
Kalata Corporation.
Welcome to Business and Beyond. Our market discussion series bring us to Australia and how we can bring the relationship to the next level. Meanwhile, coconut oil takes the center stage as we focus on some coconut oil-based products in our key and emerging product series.
In our MSME segment, we talked with a Cebu-based manufacturer and exporter of silver jewelry, which successfully transitioned from producing corporate giveaways. This comes after some industry news last week.
Businesses are reminded to file or renew their permits and licenses as the local governments are able to make their processing easier and faster in a bid to improve the ease of doing business. Guillermo Luz, private sector co-chairman of the National Competitiveness Council, noted that a joint memorandum circular signed last August by secretaries of Departments of Trade and Industry, Interior and Local Government, and Information Communications Technology is in effect. Luz said such circular sets processing in time for businesses permit renewals to 1 day and new businesses to up to 2 days, and requires the use of a single and standardized form for the renewal or new application process. It also sets the maximum number of steps to renew business permit at 3 and the number of signatories to approve a business permit at 2. Electronic signatures may also be used. For new business permit applications, the fire safety inspection certificates issued during the occupancy permit stage is already sufficient for the issuance of the FSIC for business, which is a requirement for a business permit. Local garments and hard goods manufacturers expect export earnings rising by 2 to 5% this year as they aim to tap into the huge ASEAN market. Robert Young, president of the Foreign Buyers Association of the Philippines, said his group has positive outlook for 2017 and onwards despite the political noise. We will be tapping new markets, especially now that the ASEAN economic integration is already in place. We started with the United States and then Europe and some parts of Asia. For the past 40 years, we have been successful in penetrating these new markets, so now the point of concentration will be the ASEAN, he said. Young said ASEAN currently comprises only 5% of the group's markets, while the United States cornering 70% and Europe and other countries such as Canada and Australia at 25%. The group's merchandises include apparel, footwear, fashion accessories, furnishings, and furniture, wood products, and other gift items. Apart from tapping new markets, FOBAP is working to improve the standard of products for exports.
Welcome to Crops Agri Mobile App, ang pamilihang agri-products sa iisang pindot lang. Sign up sa Crops. Pumili ng user type. I-enter ang account details. I-update ang profile. Kung ikaw ay buyer, ikaw ay madadala patungo sa home screen. Kung ikaw ay seller, itatanong ng crops na ilagay ang iyong settlement account. At handa na natin gamitin ang Crops Agri-Mobile app. Libre ang Crops Agri-Mobile app at pwede ka pang maging buyer or seller.
International Container Terminal Services Inc. Excellence Uncontained.
Kalata Corporation.
International Container Terminal Services Inc. Excellence Uncontained.
Kalata Corporation.
The Philippines and Australia marked last year over 70 years of bilateral relations covering people-to-people links, development assistance, trade and investments, among other areas. The relationship also got a boost from the signing in 2010 of the ASEAN-Australia-New Zealand Free Trade Agreement. Let's get the way forward from the former Trade Commissioner and now member of the Australian Chamber of Commerce, Mr. Chris Ward. How would you assess the economic relationship between the Philippines and Australia?
The Philippines has been an economic partner for Australia for, of course, the 70 years, but even before that, in terms of prior to the Australian government formally establishing its embassy here.
How do you think we should move the partnership forward? And what are the challenges that we are facing and the opportunities that we have?
Free trade agreement between ASEAN and Australia and New Zealand is something that is needing more push. We see in Australia that it's there for business to work with government. It's if you look at the website for our trade department, that it's quite an amount of information on what to do and how to do it and where you'll get assistance. So when you look at from the Philippine side, we see a lower amount of exports going to Australia than I believe should be the case. Currently we're looking at close to $4 billion in trade between the two countries, but Australia has the majority of that trade.
The free trade agreements cover the tariff issues. The sticky ones are in the non-tariff measures, especially for agriculture and food.
If you're looking at the raw agricultural product, issue we face in that is that we have very strict quarantine laws in Australia. And Australia's quarantine people have come to the Philippines to work with the local authorities. That has been aimed at trying to ensure that they understand the requirements, what treatment may be needed, what may need to be done in areas of eradicating what may be the problem. Another area that I've believed in is the tourism hospitality area. Yes, there are now a growing number of Australians coming to the Philippines as tourists, and that is a very good growth area. But the infrastructure is still not really as developed here as you will find in competing countries in the region.
How big is the chamber and what sectors are they involved in?
The chamber, which was formally established in 1982, has now about 340 members. Well, you name the industry and we're covering most industries in the country.
What do you think would be the country's short to long-term prospects?
If I remember correctly, the tourism in the past 12 months was around about 90,000 tourists from Australia. When you look at what's happening with Indonesia, Bali, and we've got 300,000-400,000 a year going to Bali. Yet the Philippines has as much attraction for me as Bali does. And so the multiplier effect from tourism is quite substantial. I will mention mining, which has been an area where I believe the Philippines has a tremendous opportunity. And yes, there is the question about the environment, but it can be addressed through enforcement and fair play in terms of how you deal with the miners. The manufacturing, I think there are issues because of the price of electricity. There is also the area of congestion in terms of most people look at Metro Manila, greater Metro Manila area to invest, where I believe it should be further outside in other provincial areas, but then there raises the transport issue. And the infrastructure, we have generally been having contractors here, although working with Philippine contractors, as well as the consulting engineers.
If there are two priorities which, from the point of view of Australian investors, would like the government to address, what will it be?
The red tape should be cut substantially. The other one in terms of the mining, I'd like to see the mining move ahead. To me, that's a major area to look at closely and hopefully be a little bit more, I won't call it lenient, but more willing to look at dealing with companies that are good, legitimate, track record companies.
Okay. Thank you very much, Chris, for sharing all these insights and information with us.
It's my pleasure. I believe the Philippines has a lot of opportunities, and I think that we should be seeing much more growth than what has occurred, even though it's been good.
Right.
I think that the future hopefully will be even better.
Yes, I agree. Thank you, Chris. All right. Business and Beyond will be back.
International Container Terminal Services Inc. Excellence Uncontained.
Kalata Corporation.
International Container Terminal Services Inc. Excellence Uncontained.
Kalata Corporation.
Capitalizing on the medicinal properties of coconut oil, this manufacturer and exporter of coconut oil-based products are not only into marketing but also in the advocacy of promoting good health. Let's hear more of this good news and their story from the president of Coco Plus Aquarium Development Corporation, Ms. Josefina Savares. How did you start the business? Ano po yung nag-inspire sa inyo?
For people who are sick with skin disease.
So how did you know, ma'am, na maku-cure ng virgin coconut oil yung mga skin disease?
We have done some form led by Dr. Luspay, Dr. Diary, and I did more books about the virgin coconut oil. And there I really believe in the product because nakita ko to sa mga may sakit na talagang gumaling sila not less than 1.
So paano niyo po na-develop yung product?
Engineer Billy Nabawalan from PCCI.
PCCI is the Philippine Coconut Authority. How many products and what kinds of products do you have now?
We are concentrating sa actual virgin coconut oil and other massage oil. Tapos other byproducts, soap.
Yung ingredients po ng products, are these pure coconut oil o may halong chemicals?
Pure coconut oil.
Pure coconut oil. So, how do you ensure that you have a steady supply of coconut?
Meron kami contract sa farmer from Masbate. 1,000 square meters of coconut oil.
Oh,
Na exclusive.
then where is your factory and who develops these products?
Ang factory namin nasa San Pablo, and it's fortunate for us na nagkakam ng Japanese partner and they guided us quality standard ng Japanese.
How big na po yung export nyo?
Malaki din man siya, sustainable siya.
Kumusta po yung domestic market naman?
Kakunti sa Pilipino ang naniniwala sa virgin coconut oil. And now we are making a sales rally to educate the people, to let them know how blessed the Philippines is because we have this amazing product na nakakagaling talaga from head to foot, talagang internal and external.
So you mentioned of healing yung skin diseases. Other than that,
Actually, according to the book of Dr. Diary, he called his book Drugstore in Battle. our family experienced all these things. From sinusitis, from BPI, headache, blood pressure.
So which government agency are you closely working with?
Actually, PCCI and DOST.
DOST. Okay, from DOST, ano naman po yung naitulong ng DOST sa inyo?
Financial wise.
Nag-extend po sila ng loans?
Yes.
Financing?
Without any interest.
Baka po is this the set-up program?
Yes.
Okay, so sino po yung biggest competitor natin country-wise?
I think Sri Lanka.
Sri Lanka. Okay. And how are we able to compete with them in terms of price and quality?
In terms of price, talagang mas mababa sila. Pero in terms of quality, I can vouch for the quality of the Philippine Virgin.
Do you think this is something we can market in ASEAN or sa Europe lang because of the high price?
Actually, now we are under CBI.
For Europe.
And they are helping us to export our product in Europe.
Okay, good. Alright, ma'am, this is your chance to invite potential customers to the wonders that your products can do.
I would like to invite all Filipino people to believe in this product. And this is an amazing gift from God. Really amazing, and I will say it is a miracle oil. Just imagine, out of the gata, you can make virgin coconut oil that will cure whatever you want to do. And we are speaking from our experience. It is my advocacy that the Filipino must be the one to benefit from the goodness of this product.
From a material that we have abundantly.
Yeah, we the Filipinos must be the one to be benefited. And in doing so, nakakapagbigay tayo ng maraming trabaho sa farmers natin. And at the same time, we will be able to help the economy of the Philippines.
Salamat po, Ms. Sabayos. Thank you very much. Business and Beyond will be back.
Welcome to Crops Agri Mobile App, ang pamilihang agri-products sa iisang pindot lang. Para makapagbenta sa Crops Agri Mobile App, mag-sign up bilang seller at mag-post ng iyong produkto. Kumpletuhin ang mga karagdagang impormasyon tungkol sa inyong produkto. Matapos ang paglagay ng mga impormasyon, choose a delivery option. Ilagay kung saan ang iyong lokasyon. I-upload ang mga litrato ng inyong mga paninda. Mabuhay! Matagumpay ang inyong pagpo-post! Libre ang Crops Agri Mobile App at pwede ka pang maging buyer or seller.
International Container Terminal Services, Inc. Excellence Uncontained.
Kalata Corporation.
International Container Terminal Services, Inc. Excellence Uncontained.
Kalata Corporation.
an industry challenged by policy issues and strong competition from its lower-cost neighbors, one manufacturer has managed to thrive and survive. Let's get that story from the president of A. Suarez Sterling Corporation and Suarez Brothers Metal Arts, Mr. Alan Suarez. Just very quickly, sir, please let us know ano ba yung products mo because you have two companies already that survived so many decades now.
I run the Suarez Brothers Metal Arts, which was established in 1953, and we are the second generation that entered the business in 2010. I have a company, the A. Suarez Sterling Corporation, which was doing silver jewelry for export. And all of this we manufacture in Cebu.
Okay, right. You have college rings, no?
Yeah, college, right. Pins, key holders, and a lot more of metal products.
Dati hindi naman jewelry agad.
It was more on the metals, on medals for schools, the pins of the schools, like the nursing pins or what they corporate pins.
Because the fine jewelry through the years the performance has been declining. What do you think is the reason for the continuing decline?
For domestic, it's a very small market. The Suarez Brothers went for more mass production thing, which is the school rings and also the corporate rings and the corporate giveaways.
Bakit silver, sir?
It's during the time when we started, it's a cheaper alternative or less expensive alternative of gold. And silver is very popular in Europe. There's also in Japan.
Okay, so now we talk of demand.
With school rings, the school ring kasi is a memento. The millennials now have apparently a different way of how they reward themselves. Right now, it's the cell phones, the technology, the gadgets that they appreciate more.
How do you see the demand in the short to long term?
More understanding of what the new market wants. It's always changing and it's getting to be fast and faster, and you have to be very quick on this one. For us, we believe that there are always companies and schools who look for traditional rewards to their customers or to their clients, and we are still there.
Pero sir, there's a strong regulation now on mining.
I just noticed about a few years ago that we can bring out raw metal like gold and silver. Maubos yung gold and silver natin. I would say that they should have like a finished good, processing inside. So gold should be sold as a finished product.
Is there a list of priority assistance that you need from government?
The industry has to sit down and look again on the situation of the market.
These are very good insights and information. Thank you for sharing them with us. Business and Beyond will be back.
Welcome to Crops Agri Mobile App, ang pamilihang agri-products sa iisang pindot lang. Para magamit ang Crops Agri Mobile App, maghanap sa List View. I-confirm ang order. I-upload ang deposit slip. Tagumpay ang iyong pag-order. Para sa mas mabilis na transaksyon, i-chat ang mga taga-benta. Libre ang Crops Agri Mobile App at pwede ka pang maging buyer or seller.
The most awaited international event of the year is almost nearing its playdate, the Miss Universe Beauty Pageant 2016 Coronation Night, and it's going to be held here in the Philippines. Business and Beyond had the privilege of being invited in one of its dinner events. also had the opportunity to chat with the international fashion designer, Madame Rolette Esmilia.
I took up fashion designing with Madonna, together with Patis Tesoro and Bacchus Aldran. And then right after that, I was already booked for Dubai. But before that, I was already designing with the head designer of Saudi Arabia. I'm called as Madame Yara in Dubai, which is because my shop is called Yara Fashion, one of the earliest fashion houses in Dubai. Everybody was given a chance to have one of the candidates for you to do one of her gowns. I think we were 80 designers or 87 designers taken by Mr. Albert Andrada, and we were randomly picked who's going to design for each candidate. And unfortunately enough, I was given Miss USA. For this year, it's called the Year of the Rooster. I was presuming I wanted to do a design which is called the Sarimanok. So I fused them together. So I called my design Sarimanok in the Year of the Rooster. It's actually 3 layers of laces and laser cutting, which I do myself. Number 1, globally, I want everybody to know we have one of the most creative, very good fashion designers. We have proven it while I was in Dubai. The creative juices of the Filipino, considering our Asian heritage and our Spanish heritage, all rolled into one. So everybody is very good in their creation. I'm inviting you over to the Miss Universe contest, and on the 30th, let's just hope can pick a very good winner. If you wanted to see my collections, it will be available for Miss Mandaluyong. I'm creating a lot of gowns for the Miss Mandaluyong candidates.
On this note, we close this week's episode. Join us again next week for a continuation of our discussions.
May we also invite you to share with us your views, comments, and suggestions in our social media accounts. Always remember, connections matter here at Business and Beyond.
This program was presented by International Container Terminal Services, Inc. Excellence Uncontained.
Kalata Corporation.